drafts from D+. Also was happy to see that the desk made the Veigar yellow. Because I think Veigar is still incredibly strong, but I do also think that it can struggle into matchups that outrange it or blinding it. And I don't even think the Ahri was the biggest punish, but I was, oh my god, okay. We're going in a different direction. And
please ban Thresh.
We didn't talk about it at all. But Zeus also like single-handedly got a 1k gold lead.
Yeah.
Unmatched. But are they gonna B1? Is it?
I mean,
is
they
it
did
a
handshake that.
Is it a B1 Thresh? Is that where we're heading? Instead of Lee?
Yeah, I mean, you can, and then you
play it,
pick up
know that.
Jinx or Aphelios.
Yeah.
You know, you can just make your pick. This is a decision here for T1 because Caitlyn now is available, but they're still going to ban the Lucian. So we're probably looking at Def's Caitlyn or a first pick Thresh.
Oh, I'd argue that you'd go for the Caitlyn here because it also locks off. No, not going to be the case. So this is a bold move because we know that T1 can flex Caitlyn, so they can lock in.
Very bold.
Caitlyn is a no-brainer. Then you can. Oh, okay. I was like, they can flex. No flex. It's Caitlyn Lux. That's it. And then Ezreal Karma.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's. I like that. I'm excited to see what will happen there. It is into Guma and Keria, so I'm a little worried. I do think you're locked into lock-in in your jungler here, though, because with this, you want a jungle that can actually protect and
but also attack.
Yes, the bot lane, because you want to both protect and then, I mean, I was thinking Elise. Viego also does the job, right? Strong early skirmishing, able to utilize the setup for Guma and Keria. And you kind of have to go for the jungler, otherwise D+ can still bend them out.
Yeah, already T1's pick potential through the roof.
Yeah. As will be their bot lane priority. We have seen this Lux, Caitlyn versus Ezreal Karma matchup go a number of ways. The best example obviously would be KT, who have been able to pilot that matchup still undefeated. And Deft and Kalin are no slouches on the picks, as we're gonna then ban the Ahri as well.
Baker's pretty good on that. So.
Well, yeah. I wonder about LeBlanc, because it hasn't made its way in yet. LeBlanc and Lissandra are the main ones that I'd be looking here for T1, picks that allow you to assassinate, set up, and start that Viego snowball that I think T1 is going to be looking towards.
Veigar, you know, I know it wasn't great in the last draft, but I think it's actually a lot of comfort for Showmaker.
It is.
I think he's probably the best Veigar player we have, although we haven't seen everybody play it this season, so I think it's okay. There's that Lissandra you were talking about.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. The Lissandra combination with the
but now you just pick LeBlanc?
You can buy LeBlanc. You can also pick up top Sejuani if you'd want to. That is a bigger risk, but Sejuani Viego is a really strong combo. Could see them go in that direction. And I do think they're going to save mid lane counter pick for Faker, but no, it's going to be the LeBlanc that we were talking about. Does make a ton of sense here.
Man. We're just getting a treat today. Faker's LeBlanc, Keria's Thresh, Guma's Caitlyn. I mean, we're getting a lot of treats today.
Oh.
Canyon's Lee Sin as well. And now you don't have Lissandra. So what is the choice here for Showmaker? Looking like a Talia.
Going to be the Talia angle here. Does make their comp really hard to engage on with Karma and Talia. But T1, I think, are mostly going to be playing around single target, right? Like, blow up one target, get the train rolling as Kana. Again, you're going for this Cassandra. He wasn't the problem last game. He also wasn't the solution. He was just there. Yeah, Gnar for Zeus is kind of the no-brainer. It's a pick that he is exceptionally strong on. Very big comfort.
I don't think you have to really go outside the box for this one.
No, why would you? Well, I would love that.
You could. No way. Okay, God.
How dare you? Oh my.
Keria just trolling DK, but also trolling us.
That was mean. Okay, the Olaf I'm okay with, but the Riven was so out there that you're like, it could happen.
He could have done it. I mean,
I was waiting for it. Drop that we have for T1, exceedingly strong when it comes to individual picks. If you are able to deny vision with Lux Bindings, Caitlyn Traps, LeBlanc, Viego, you will never be able to walk up. But if D+ is able to utilize the poke and range and disengage that they have, even Kana, right? We see a lot of aggressive Cassandra plays, but as we saw in the previous game, also can be a very good disengager. Make sure that whichever high-value target tries to get onto your backline, you can get rid of. D+ will have an incredible amount of late game. I'm just worried because with how the previous game played out and how aggressive T1 have been in the early game, almost every early game goes their way. And if you have the early game and you turn it into vision control, I don't know how you're going to play the game as D+.
We've been wishing for LeBlanc, Faker, obviously. Pe-blanc is what it says in Korean. Obviously, Pe being the first syllable of Faker in Korean. For 235 days, she's going to get it tonight. So many treats tonight. So many.
We can only hope that we get a third game, but after the game number 1, I'm not feeling too optimistic.
Yeah, you know,
that one shook me a little bit, Valdez.
Yeah, I don't really see it. I don't see the angle. I don't think this is really the draft to do it, to be honest, either, for DK. Like, I think it's decent. I think it's all right, but I don't know. I certainly don't think they won the draft, in my opinion. Either way, guys, we are ready to hop onto the Rift for game number 2. Let's do it. Here we go. Game 2. DK, they would really love to take out one of T1 or, of course, Genji, that they will be playing on Saturday. But it's really not easy. KT have an extremely easy strength of schedule at the end of the season. DK have the hardest strength of schedule at the end of the season, having to play 2 of these teams. They want to win at least one of them to give themselves a chance of getting second place, of course, and skipping the first round of playoffs.
Even winning a game here would be big because they are one series score ahead of both Genji and KT. But when it comes to the overall game score, they're sitting at plus 16. Well, will be less now with their first loss, but Genji is trailing pretty close behind them. So even individual game wins, even if you can't win the series, would be huge. A couple of rune choices here. We do actually see Showmaker go for the Eri. We have seen mostly First Strike or Unsealed Spellbook, so opting a lot more lane dominant here. And I do think that the Taliyah's success has mostly hinged on how aggressive have you been able to get with it. As the first few levels of Ezreal and Karma is actually, like, the first 3 are really strong.
Yeah.
Once the first back comes in and Caitlyn Lux gets some levels and actually have their combo available, it gets a lot harder. But right now, Deft and Callan playing with full confidence, which I think is really important if you want to take controls. Yeah, this happens a lot with T1. The Zay is also still 100% win rate on his cannon after that previous game.
7-0 now.
Yep.
9-0 here for Guma. But Deft is on Ezreal, and we're not going to take a look at his win rate. I'm actually curious what it is, but I would imagine it's pretty good.
Safe bet.
Yeah, he's quite strong on this champion, it turns out. And he's got Ezreal Karma, as we're taking a look at Showmaker's win rate here. 8-2 on Taliyah. Actually surprised he hasn't played it more.
Yeah, and
look at this. Oh.
Yeah. That is a over such a long period of time as well. Stats like that always amazing. Really cool to see. But as I was saying earlier, a lot of the success, and probably the most successful Taliyah has been BDD thus far, comes from the impact that Taliyah is able to have on side lanes. We have seen some games, the Bulldog game comes to mind recently, where obviously the Taliyah skills insanely well and in the late game is able to do absurd amounts of constant damage, but if you're not able to snowball the lane early, we have seen a lot of them struggle in mid-game when if there's multiple angles for you to flank on, you only have one E. And I like the more laning dominant setup here for Showmaker to try and give him an actual angle to impact sides, because we saw in the previous game, if T1 just gets to play the game, you're not going to win. You have to play proactively, you have to keep them down, and you have to not allow them to just play their game, and this is looking like a perfect example of that.
Yeah, the poke already coming in as Guma is quite low, but there goes Deft into it. The Q is going to land on the Keria as he has to flash, but he is dead. First blood given over to Kellen with the Ignite.
And Oner on the top half of the map. Doesn't look like he'll be able to go for a counterplay. Besides that, Grom was a little scared when the Canyon Q didn't hit on top of Gumayusi, but was still enough damage available to take Keria down. Kill does go over to Kellen, which is not the best case scenario, and Guma will be able to pick up this wave, but still a nice early game lead, and we've seen this Karma and Ezreal lane really be able to snowball if they get an early game lead, and we also know that the Caitlyn Lux lane can somewhat struggle if they don't have control and aren't able to kind of get the enemy stuck in that loop of you're stuck on their turret, you're losing plates, you're getting poked down, and then they get it back in before you do, and you're always playing behind on tempo.
We'll take another look here. As pretty straightforward, it looks like it goes behind Guma, as even a flash auto is needed to secure the kill. Pretty straightforward, a very nice early gank from Canyon.
And also Kana, not in a position where he could be dove, didn't take any trades. We've seen it happen in the past, particularly with some of our lower teams where you know the enemy, or your own jungler rather, is pathing away from you. So in that case, ensuring that you keep your health top, so you're no easy dive target is something that Kana in particular actually has struggled with, and I think it's his biggest improvement that we've seen this split, of him being able to play the map a lot better even without getting resources, because that was something that I think a lot of us were really worried about coming into. Now, we also saw in the last game that he obviously struggled with staying up with Zeus, but that's also because it's Zeus.
It's a matchup as well.
It's both the matchup and the player.
Yeah.
But I still think that there's some credit where credit is due there for Kana. Yep, they are playing very aggressively here. Early Sheen pick up for Deft, and Guma and Keria going to remain on the back foot here, stuck underneath the turret, and if Oner can get a gank off, it will be really big. Try and turn the pace of this bottom lane, but vision control is there, right? 2 control wards in this river.
Yeah. And Oner's not even able to get in there and clear out the ward. He just has to walk away, doesn't know where Canyon is. As Chains coming on in, Faker once again proving that he is the best LeBlanc. I mean, from that trade, you know, not going to see too much, but we'll see more in the future. As Oner now pressuring, here comes Faker down to the bottom side. Going to use this pressure to finally take out this ward.
And we might have a skirmish on our hands here.
Oh, there's the binding. They catch Canyon as in on the wall comes Showmaker. Too little, too late. As Faker is there, in goes the Q from Oner, who has stolen the Lee Sin. Very happy to steal that, as now he's Ezreal and is looking to poke them down underneath this turret. Faker here as well. And already T1 off to a roaring start. As okay, we are going to have a back from one of the guys. It looks like Showmaker was there, but Kellen is not long for this world, although kind of burning down. But Faker just with the flash and the chains, as at least Kellen trades one back, but another kill onto LeBlanc is not what you want to see if you're DK.
Yeah, that kill on Keria salvages it a little bit, because without that it would have been just a straight up disaster. It's still really bad, but at the very least, D+ is able to stay somewhat even in gold. Also nicely done from Canyon, immediately going for the follow-up. But we saw there is a really crucial mistake from D+. Because of the roam and the ultimate of Taliyah, they feel safe. But that does mean that Canyon can't die right from the get-go here. As Keria, that starts with the setup, right? Hits the binding, and then this is what we're talking about, that single target pick. Well then Oner still gets Lee, which that's not fair. You can't give him, you can't both have Viego and Lee, Valdez. That's not okay.
Yeah, especially against Oner. That feels unfair. I would have to agree with you. I'm curious how Keria dies. I guess he just gets power aggro. Takes a couple
very
shots.
Straightforward, yeah.
The end for him.
Gets taken down and will trade his life, but sets up his jungler. And that's just one of the combos right there. It can be a chain, it can be a binding, it can even be Oner hitting a W, but any of those should be enough for T1 to then 100-0 the targeting question, start the resets for Oner, and that's, I think, a really good blueprint of how a lot of the subsequent fights are going to be played out here for T1, and it's up to D+ to be a little bit crisper there. Canyon is able to like flash that binding. I do think they can win that 4v4. It's not unwinnable by any means, but not if your lead dies right from the get-go.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate for him, as binding not going to hit. We do have junglers in the bottom lane again, as the tri-lane continues. Unfortunately for DK as well, Kellen has taken a lot of the gold. He took both kills, so he's actually the one guy that's leading in gold for the bottom lane. Everything just turns on its head, and you don't have the gold in the right places, so it's not a great feeling for DK's bottom lane.
It's also what we mentioned, that Guma and Keria were set on the back foot because of that level 1, and Canyon getting an early gank off. But as you get a little bit more items, we now see Guma and Keria in a much better spot, actually do have sizable threat, and that combined with Oner and Faker's continued attention towards the bot side of the map means that that early lead for Deft and Kellen nowhere to be seen. If it was Deft picking up those 2 kills, could have been a different scenario, right? If he actually gets that early Essence Reaver, if they played that scrimmage a little bit differently, it could have been better. But now, T1, despite a somewhat rocky first few levels, is now firmly back in control. 1k gold leads. Infernal on the cards here as well, and D+ are kind of in a position where they have to fight for this. I don't think you can give this one up. You do have incredible scaling on your end with the amount of range and aggressive power you have with that poke from Showmaker and Deft, but you got to get there, and that is much easier said than done.
Yeah. We saw game 1 was kind of, you know, we were talking during the break, it just felt like even though DK found some angles in the mid game, it still felt somewhat hopeless when T1, you know, won the one fight, got the Baron, and it was kind of just over. Like, kind of just felt like it was out of their control almost, which is not what you want to feel in a competitive League of Legends game. So, yeah, curious to see how they can maybe fight back a bit better this time around. This bottom lane going strongly. You see that Guma is ahead 10 CS, or 9, I guess, at this point, after all of the early game.
You see continuously here, Deft and Kellen trying to trade back as aggressively as they can. As Oner actually, a bit of a throwback build here. We've seen a lot of the Black Cleaver into Kraken, but going for the Divine Sunder. Something that we used to see all the time.
And he already has it.
Yeah, well, that's the main thing at 11 minutes.
Yeah.
As Showmaker was looking for a trap here, trying to maybe get some damage onto Faker, but not going to be the case. Oner making sure that his mid laner is safe, traveling together. As Deft, gotta keep playing this aggressive. Keep looking.
Yeah, tons of poke continuing. Oner is here. Chains come in onto Kellen. The flash monster Q onto Guma. I mean, you just said aggression. I think he heard you.
Yep. And keeping Guma on the back foot is a great way to make sure that T1 doesn't, again, completely take over. As this, I'm glad we're panning here so we can just confirm the same thing is happening as last game. There's no change. It's a 20 CS lead, a little bit less. You know, Kana will be able to be maybe like 10 CS behind, so that's an improvement. But Zeus is just going to keep farming plates and build a lead for himself. Here is Faker.
Uh-oh, he is going to get caught, and he tries to dash over the rocks. That's not going to work. Oner, though, is so strong right now as he's just going to auto him down. Able to steal that one here as goes for the Heartbreaker now onto Canyon, continuing. And now, even with Kellen here, okay, he actually is going to flash, as I guess he's not sure about where Deft is, but man, this Viego is pretty strong.
Well, particularly in these longer skirmishes where you get to stack Conqueror and the continuous healing from Divine Sunderer is insane, right? Really good use there from Oner to salvage a situation that was actually really nicely set up by D+. Faker caught off guard. The first trap from Showmaker and Canyon didn't quite work out. This one does, but with Canyon still not being able to make his way towards the Dragon, that is a big win here. If T1 can equalize Drakes, start their Soul Snowball, is something that also is going to make it a lot harder for D+. Might force them into an awkward position down the line.
This is actually on Vision, as that controller wasn't denying this. We got a Cloud Soul, but Singular Infernal Drake going to be massive for every single member of T1. As Ingo's Deft has to flash after using Arcane Shift forward. Not first time we've all seen that one. Canyon waiting, tons of damage on Naguma still. And now on a Keria. The two of them are just extremely low, but the power of the duo from Faker and Oner is just a bit too much as second chains on a Canyon. But here comes Showmaker, and now Oner is on the run, doesn't have flash. He's looking to go down, as down he will. Canyon will take him out. Keria on his way out here. Faker just trying to get the kill at the Canyon, and he will, but he gives a kill over to Deft. And DK are able to handle this one.
That is big. This might be one of the fights that ends up putting DK in a much better mid-game position because gold goes over to Deft, and the shutdowns that were on T1 are picked up here. And T1 might have overstepped on that one as they were putting a ton of pressure on the bottom half of the map. Man, this is one of the most fun bot lanes that I've seen in a while. So we're going to go back to this. Oner and Faker are the ones looking, and then in this small window, does get caught off guard. Talia, of course, still quite strong into the LeBlanc, and then Oner showing that he's very fed, and ends up being completely fine here. Doesn't find the shove, and otherwise might have even been able to get the kill. And this looks okay, but look at Keria and Guma, and this is really all Deft and Kellen in my opinion. They are so low and they can't join this play. Oner and Faker are just a little bit too far forward, and Showmaker arrives at exactly the right time. And because Guma and Keria are already as low as they were because of the super aggressive trading from Deft and Kellen, they can't join. And that means Deft in a much better position. Canyon getting some extra gold as well. Things looking up here for D+.
Yeah, absolutely. I really liked how Canyon handled that when he was super low on health, as once again, here we go. Guma does have flash as the Q goes on to Keria. He's okay for now as Oner comes down. He's just going to escort them out of the bottom lane.
And Canyon, no flash. Guma still had his as well, so felt relatively safe there, but nicely done by Oner. Good timing, making sure that his support doesn't have to use a summoner. As Kana, so I've seen Kana like push multiple waves into the turret. He's still a level behind. I missed what happened, but I'd like an answer because Zeus has had really good roam timings here. Is also always in time to actually pick up the wave as soon as he does get back to the lane. We have seen him move a little bit, you know, shadow towards that or move towards river, down to the mid lane. Just say hello. And then immediately go back to his lane and continue pressing onward. Still, 0-0-0 for both top laners. Again.
That's just the way it goes, Chronicler.
But they have unleashed teleport.
Yeah.
That should be enough, no?
Full story. All right. A little bit of fighting, perhaps. Kana goes all out. Tons of damage on him already as Zeus is just standing up to the Kasaki. He's like, yeah, whatever. As down he might go. No, the flash is perfect. As he gets out of the damage of Canyon, the Coup is just going to skirt by as it nearly takes out Zeus.
That was so close. Really nicely set up bait for D+, then answered by a key stun. I think it was Oner that hit his W there, which made sure that Canyon couldn't actually get the final kill in on Zeus, and then as a result, looks like T1 should be able to pick themselves up the Herald here. Not a game-breaking objective by any means, but D+ are fighting back, but it's still T1 often coming out ahead here. And that might lead to T1 also having a much better position to get this Drake, right? Because if you throw them there in mid lane, it's going to have to be answered. The siege of Caitlyn Lux, even in the best of times, can be hard to deal with when you're in the best of positions. And,
yeah,
you know, Guma isn't super fed, but he's still 20 CS up. They've got a kill, but still not a great position to be in. Guma also with Guild Force and BT already. So he's gonna hurt in this upcoming fight.
Yeah. No BT yet, but soon. Very soon. As let's see how this one does go. You do have the option as well at the Rift Herald to just ignore the Drake. You know, if DK don't respond, you can just say, okay, we're just going to take a turret or two because the siege is so powerful, like you mentioned, out of this. As Oner Gonna go to the top lane for some reason.
So, well, actually, I love this. Because you can't punish Faker. They might be able to get 2 turrets here, right? Like, and D+ are gonna get what, a single
he's
cloud?
getting in there. The Heartbreaker on Nakana as he does go unstoppable. Stun lands as the damage is just massive from this Viego. Goes all out under the turret. He's kind of really playing with fire here.
Yeah, and you know, Kana lives. Great job on him. I do think it's really hard to kill K'Sante there, but you don't care, right? Like, you already got the top lane turret. That's first turret blood. That's going to help you out a ton. And then now they're going to get a second charge here as well. Look at the control they have on the top half of the map.
Yeah, nobody
they
can
don't care about this dragon.
As meanwhile, if that Q landed, Deft might have been in some trouble. The poke, pretty insane, and yeah, look, guys.
Well, what can they do? Like, they've already diverted all their resources unless they're willing to invest a TP for Showmaker.
All right, Gumi, you're going to have to flash this. Uh-oh, the knockup comes in, and down he goes. Which is why DK are so dangerous with this Taliyah pick.
And that is a little bit of a mistake that actually equalizes the play a lot more. Because with Guma going down there, and both him and Keria using their flash, that is a big win for D+. That might create some problems down the line. Almost gets out with his net, but not going to be the case. Showmaker catches him just barely there. And I think that's 100% of one play for T1 if you get the turrets, the 2 turrets for Drake, if that mid lane situation doesn't happen. But Guma and Keria, even with the knowledge of DK focusing all their attention towards the bot side of the map, still get caught in mid. And that will mean that D+ don't get the worst end of trade. But I haven't finished my sentence. Like, Zeus gets another turret. And this is the problem with T1. They play so aggressively for priority that keeping up with them is really, really hard.
Yeah, we're not going to see what we saw yesterday with 6.5 minutes going by without anybody being in a side lane.
Why would you?
I had to bring it up.
No, you did. No, you did not.
Because we're just
you did not have to bring it up.
That these teams, especially T1 in this case, are really good about utilizing pressure on the map.
Yes.
Playing the macro game. It turns out it's very important, Chronicler. I just don't want to see what I saw yesterday happen again. 4,000 gold loss in total.
And now, do have some traps being set up.
That ward there in mid is really going to help.
Yeah, it really does. And also, as mentioned, Keria and Guma, neither of them have flash. So, I'm happy that this is how we play the Ezreal. Though Oner is looking like, hey, are you sure you want to Arcane Shift forward there? Trying to keep Deft honest, but with Karma there, Deft still going to be very, very safe. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, might get something going here on the Faker. Q lands. This is a LeBlanc after all. Q misses. Canyon still on the chase, but actually just going to Shadow Showmaker and allow them to pick up another turret here.
Yeah, don't want to overstep and run the risk of making the same mistake that T1 did earlier in this game. That's going to keep the gold total very even as Showmaker might be caught off guard here.
Oh boy. Well, 2v1, we do have a teleport for Kana as, nope, he's going to be, oh, what? Okay. Heartbreaker comes in, Showmaker still on the run, and yeah, the stun is going to land, and you can throw as many rocks as you want. The knockup's going to be nice, but the extra movement speed, he is just gone. As Showmaker, don't think he needed more kills, but sure, going to pick up, or Oner rather, he is going to pick up his 4th kill.
As double TP here.
All right, really trying to make this a thing. Onto this turret, straight onto a trap. The poke damage is massive from T1.
They do keep the turret alive, but a lot is invested there. You see the pressure that comes out, TPing into Caitlyn Lux is the same feeling as Zhonya Singh into Caitlyn Lux. It never works. It just makes you sad as you take out your health bar. And yeah, Showmaker here, crucially, has the issue of not having his ultimate available immediately because he was still clearing the wave. If he is like a split second earlier and he doesn't get knocked off his wall early on, I think he might have maybe made it out alive, right? If you can utilize your passive, even with the extra movement speed that Viego have, could have maybe made it. Not going to be the case here. Oner getting more fed, and look at that top half for T1 here. And that, I think, is one of the big reasons why T1 is so tough to deal with. In the previous game, they didn't need Zeus at all. Like, Zeus was a non-factor, but he's still there. He's still waiting on this Gnar at the ready.
Oh, the poke is huge. Kellen, oh man, he's getting flashed on right now. Faker is not messing around. Oh! Well, that's flash down now for Kellen. So I guess Faker traded it after all. With the help of Keria, of course, as over the wall goes Deft, takes a massive chunk from the Gnar.
Zeus is moving, man. Utilizing the clouds there as well. Actual Cloud Griffin interaction.
Whoa.
Loving it.
Somebody get Riot on the phone. They should be happy about that. Okay, Zeus going Mega Gnar, but looking for the kick into Keria. That didn't quite work out.
That's the flash.
Yeah. Did he? I don't know. That was weird.
Yeah,
he had flash. He could have made the play happen.
Yeah, and Guma doesn't really care anymore. We've seen the BT and the overheal combo be very strong, as this is the individual pick they're looking for.
Kana going forward, though. He is going to take a massive amount of damage. Even Kana at this point is not tanky enough. As now, very low health bars. The chase is on.
Going in.
T1 are hunting their prey. Faker looking for more damage. Flash over the wall. Keria immediately dies. As Oner is going to follow suit. They go a little bit too far, and the prey strikes back.
Oh, big moment there. T1 oversteps Zeus.
Hey, that's going to be rocks on the ground here. Zeus in a bit of trouble. As he is not going to elect a flash to make the play. Stunned up for most of it.
But do you get the objective, is my question. Canyon's going to start it up here, but Guma is there. He's going to spot this, and yeah, I don't think they can. The health bars are too low. Showmaker does have his ultimate available here, so should be able to get back very soon. And with this, you see the rest of D+ at the ready, but they don't want to give this up. T1 is not going to let it go.
Yeah, here we go again.
Unrelenting.
Here comes Showmaker as well. He's got his own little global. Has lots of damage, but it's going to reset.
Surely you let it go now.
On DK, the damage coming in onto Kellen. Down he goes. That's the end of Karma. Deft is all alone. As Kana trying to escort him out, but the flash on in as Zeus again is not messing around. Mega Gnar here as well, as down will go Canyon. One by one, the dominoes fall.
What do? You can't take an objective. Even after T1 make a big mistake, overstep, lose 2 members.
Baron.
On the exit, D+ get poked down, and then they're like, we need to get something out of this. We want to try and get the Drake. Just leaves your entire health bar. And then Zeus hasn't really made his mark on the series just yet. Has been clean, sure, but has just kind of been there. Well, after that sequence of plays.
I think the last 3 or so minutes have been all about Zeus, actually.
Now they have been. It's the combination of Zeus and Faker, right? Oner and Keria go in aggressively here, and this is where they could have just taken a dragon, but T1 want more. So we have Keria going over the wall here, does find Deft, but then crucially, Kana actually makes sure that Oner can't get the execute on Deft. So Oner can't start a series of resets. And then here, the level of aggression shown by Zeus and Faker is just...
It's like, how dare you attack me? Faker's right there, as you mentioned. And it's a really broken up fight. I think this will almost always favor T1 in this scenario. In the future, it could favor DK with their Ezreal, but at the moment, with how fed Zeus and Faker are, in a broken up, weird skirmish like that, they will just be able to pounce pretty hard. As now, the T1 Baron is finished, and the push is on. Didn't happen as early as Game 1, as Game 1 ended earlier than where we're at right now, but doesn't really matter because very similar outcome here as they are ahead 5,000 golds and all the turrets are falling.
This is the #1 against the #2 of the league. And we're looking at a one-sided, like, 2-game.
Yeah.
This
curious
game
about spring finals.
Yeah, this game is not as one-sided as Game 1. And that's really all you can say about it, because yeah, you have Soul Point for D+, but the gold influx that T1 get from their Baron power plays is always ridiculous. And this one is no exception.
Yeah. I mean, what can you say? Now they have Baron with the siege that they have in this composition. It is going to be deadly, right? As over the wall comes Faker and nearly takes off Deft's head. As now, might be enough. Nope, not quite going to burn down. Zult comes in, Faker, Jesus.
So close.
So close. The amount of damage that Faker has at this point is also just...
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of variety in builds, and I'm happy to see just full blow up LeBlanc. There is it's Luden's Sork Boots as well, not Lucidity like we see so many times. Shadow Flame, and he's looking to go for Rabadon next.
I do damage Smork.
Yes. and barring Showmaker, like, what do you do against this LeBlanc? Like, how do you stop her from doing that?
Well, Chronicler, I think the answer is you don't.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
yeah.
The answer, actually, jokes aside, is you just have to blow. You have to have damage threats when Faker jumps in. Otherwise, I mean, it will just go unanswered.
Yeah, that's my issue. I think that the D+ with the position they're in right now, if they can retake control with Taliyah, with Ezreal, who are still quite strong, right? Like, yes, T1 is ahead. A lot of it is in global gold. But there is still a ton of power here. If Showmaker can finish his Void Staff, Deft is sitting on 3 items with an almost fully stacked Ravenous. We have Canyon with a stopwatch. So it's not like it's impossible to make plays, but now you're playing into a pick composition that has 2 extremely fat side lanes, and you have 0 map control.
Yeah, guys, we're at 30 minutes. Zeus almost has 4 items. I just saw that and I'm like, well, I think this needs to be said. He's having a day out on this one. And, you know, Keria was great in game number 1, but the fun thing about T1 is that they always have so many threats, right? And this game probably going to be a Faker Zeus angle, I would have to imagine, although Owners also had quite the early game.
This is what they can't even collapse onto Zeus.
Yeah.
Like, they're not able to. And now their way back might even be cut off. Oner is threatening a little here, but they don't want to overplay their hand, because why would they? They can just back off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
really funny.
Gumayusi was threatening going in for the inhib, so D+ need to respect.
And that they will.
Well, if you get Solar's Canyon, is that enough?
Look at it! Look at the damage! Like, this is an R! Okay? Can't even believe it, as they are going to trigger the Mega Gnar, as down will go the Cloud Drake, as Showmaker is just in there, in the pit against Oner. He will have to flash out of it eventually, as T1 are like, I don't know if you guys really want to fight us right now. And DK are like, actually, you know what? You're right. We're just going to run, actually.
Yeah, they kind of have to. Not a lot of playmaking potential there, and 7k gold behind now. No Cloud Soul, and Cloud Soul wouldn't even really solve a lot of your issues for obvious reasons. Is one of the more lackluster. If this is an Infernal, you can kind of reach the point where if Deft hits like 2 Qs at the right time, you can just win the game. Same for Showmaker, right? Get like 1 good volley, and maybe someone on T1 is chunked low, but even if you somehow do end up getting the Cloud Soul, that's not enough. You need like an Elder Flip, and a T1 with a 6.5k gold lead is not going to allow you to get an Elder Flip in.
Yeah.
It's just not happening, as they maintain pressure here, and Zeus can auto almost everyone down in a very short amount of time. Faker, self-explanatory, doesn't even have death cap yet.
Yeah.
And
but he will soon.
It's also like, you can't, like, how do you itemize here if you're D+? Because you want to itemize AD because of Zeus, because of Guma, but then Faker one-taps you. But if you itemize just for LeBlanc, then Guma and Zeus take you down.
Note that nobody on the side of DK has Merc Treads.
No, there's no MR.
Yeah. There's no MR, there's also a lack of tenacity. You know, you get hit by a stun, a chain, a Gnar, a binding. Right, this comp also has some inherent CC, as T1 say, this is our Baron, thank you very much. And Faker's going to find an enemy jungle, as Canyon is now dead. Faker will collect the kill. And that's the Baron.
Yeah, this is a LeBlanc's playground. The enemy doesn't have vision, is forced to continuously face check into you. You're fed, there's no MR. The only non-squishy person is Kana. You're like, well, what do I care about Cassante? Everyone else is food for Faker. Def get picked up now, teleport in. This might very well be the game-ending push. But we're looking at a swift and merciless 2-0 here, Valdez.
Yeah.
Between team number 1 and number 2.
I hope Spring Finals has more to offer than this series, that's all I'll say. As the rocks are on the ground, Cassante goes all out, Kana just giving it one last go. As down will fall the inhibitors. Guma now just trying to style, as you do. Down go 2 inhibitors, and T1 will take the safe play and just back away. They do have some low health bars, particularly Zeus was getting low, as now he has finished his 4th item, Sterix. Just pretty much full damage bruiser in this game. No weird like Randuins or anything that we sometimes see in ours builds. No need for it.
No. Just playing it safe.
Damage smart.
2 levels up is Faker. Make sure that there is no ward. And the follow-up is always there. This is also something that we haven't really talked about that much in this game, but T1 to me are one of the teams that utilizes Caitlyn ultimates the best. As like he's mini Gnar. He's just hopping into multiple because like they'll kill him. It's fine. I'm okay. But what you saw there is something that they've been doing since the early game, and that is utilizing like Oner or Faker or Zeus being fed, and then augmenting it with a kind of unexpected burst of extra damage from the Caitlyn and the Lux ultimate, right? Because we talk always, when it comes to Caitlyn and Lux, about their laning and how oppressive they are, and one combo and you die. But in the hands of a team like T1, the semi-global pressure that they have is also really obnoxious to play into. Like, look at this.
And Oner, I love his positioning too, where he's in your base. They're like, well, we can't really do anything about that because, you know, he's quite fed. Now, they did chunk him down, but he's got GA and a Hexstreaker at this point. So the siege is on. The Baron's still here for 30 more seconds. As they threaten mid, they push in that wave, and then the last tower here will fall at the inhibitor. Faker always looking for the angles. They have the trap set, so they can't really be engaged upon.
3 inhibitors, that's lights out. Turret falls, just to the pressure of Zeus.
It's 1 by 1. The dominoes fall once again, as Zeus is almost on the fountain. I mean, he will not be denied, he says. That's okay, lots of damage into the GA Viego, as he won't even die. He's just healing up with the Divine Sunder, and finally, no, they're not even going to get him. Down go all the champions here on the side of DK, as T1 will smash them tonight.